Completely understand what you're saying.
After a good first half, the Raptors can't finish the job against the Boston Celtics. 116-110 is your final. Live at Real Sports, this is Raptors Tonight. I'm Randy Urban. This is Jack Armstrong, Leo Rautins, and Sherman Hamilton on the other side. And thank you for watching. If you're following along on YouTube, send us your questions, your comments. We love to get to those during the show. All right, guys, let's get right into it. Sherm?
Yes, Randy?
Are you shaking my head? Oh, no, I'm eating. I'm eating. Sorry to interrupt your burger there.
Man.
That's why he has the spelt figure.
Thanks, Jack. I got you. All right. Sherm, that third quarter, the game changed for the Raptors. What happened defensively there?
There's levels in this game.
Yeah.
Jayson Tatum just said it's time. And it's tough to stop a guy like that when he's so skilled. He has all these weapons at his disposal. He was excellent in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. And I really thought that their defense went to that elite level in the third quarter. There's only a few teams that can do that. They're one of them. And they don't even have some of their better defenders in Robert Williams, and Malcolm Brogdon. So, but they showed in the third quarter how good of a team they are. And then when you have Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown that can do it all offensively, sometimes you just can't meet that challenge as consistently as a team like Boston can. But the Raptors fought in that game and gave themselves a chance down the stretch.
What did you see, Jack?
I saw exactly what Sherm saw. I think he nailed it. I think Jaylen Brown has taken another level. Everyone's talking about Tatum, but he had 8 assists tonight.
Yeah.
I thought his playmaking, Leo, was really good. And I'll say this, I'm a huge Al Horford fan, and Sherm mentioned Robert Williams. I thought Blake Griffin and Cornette, Luke Cornette, I thought those guys played really well for them. And Marcus Smart, I watched the game last night. They played the Nets, getting ready for this one. They didn't have him, but tonight they did. I mean, he makes plays, so they're good. I mean, they're just tough. They're tested. They've been to the finals. The Raptors have some guys who've been deep in the playoffs as well. Right now, one of those guys that they have, unfortunately, is struggling. That's Fred VanVleet. They got to get him going. But to me, they played hard enough, just not well enough.
Yeah. It was a good first half, though. You were encouraged by that?
First half. So, to me, the one thing I'm watching the first half going, which team played last night?
Yeah.
Which team's on the second game of back-to-back? It looked like the Raptors were. Right, so just like what did Tatum do in that third quarter? He asserted himself like an MVP. The Raptors as a team needed to assert themselves at the start of that game and say, "You guys played last night. We're going to take it to you. We're going to put the boots to you and go hard." And they didn't do it. To me, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And it's a little discouraging because we know how this team has to play. And that's been the talk, coming into the season a little bit, how they have to play. So to me, they need to something's got to get fixed right now because they don't have that intensity at that end of the floor, and they certainly don't have it for 48 minutes.
Sherm, you mentioned Tatum in your first answer. Is he a different player this year than he was last year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
In what ways?
He's continued to grow. And when you see players, I feel, start to play with that type of awareness and overall impact, the game is slow to him. He sees things before they happen. But more importantly, the work he's put in creates a supreme confidence that he can do what he wants offensively. And the beauty from him is the maturity to understand that he still has to give it on the defensive end. You can get 30, but you got to be responsible and accountable on the defensive side. So his leadership has grown as well, but this is an elite player. This is an MVP candidate, and he's been trending this way for a while.
Yeah. When I was watching it, Jack, in that first half, and I know it's just the first half, I did feel like we can match up with this team. Like, I feel like the Raptors are built to match up with the length and the size of the Boston Celtics when we're healthy and playing well.
Yes, definitely. And the difference is right now is that that little bit of confidence, to Sherm's point, that a guy like Tatum has, that when the game was kind of in the balance and the personality of the game was going to shift, he had another gear. And right now, that's the difficult element for the Raptors is when it's time to take it to that next gear, do they have that next gear? And that to me, is what they have to kind of come to grips with.
Right.
Leo, you're going to make a point.
Well, like Pascal had some good numbers, right? But I thought the Boston Celtics were perfectly content with him trying to play one-on-one to get those buckets. They were tough buckets to get.
You made that point. I found it very interesting.
Yeah, because they had everybody else kind of locked up, neutralized, and Pascal was working, and he had to work. He had to grind to get each one of his buckets, where they were coming down the other end, boom, 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 easy. So their defense as a team, like I said, you got to give something up, and I don't think they didn't seem stressed by Pascal getting his buckets.
Can I just make one point? The Raptors had 16 break points in the first half. They didn't have any in the third. So, like the momentum changed, and as we know, the Raptors 5-on-5 when it gets slowed down a little bit, and Celtics are a good defensive team, even though they didn't have Horford and Williams, they're still good defensively. And that's something the Raptors got to improve on, their ability. But, it's interesting, during the game, Nick Nurse turned and looked at me, he goes, we've had some open shots. And they did in the third quarter, they just didn't make them. But they got to be able to do more and generate more out of their half-court
and down the stretch, they got every stop they needed to get.
They did.
So defensively, they took their game to another level. They couldn't get it done offensively in that stretch down the end of the game. They got it to 4 or 5 points, and they were able to kind of hold Boston at bay from scoring, and they just weren't able to score. And maybe to Nick Nurse's point, missing some good looks, a couple turnovers here or there. But I thought defensively, the Raptors played up to the Boston Celtics level down the stretch of the game.
Okay, guys, we got a question from an audience member. Devlin, come on over. Wait, not Devlin yet? Right. Come on in.
Who's that?
This is Devlin. What's up, man?
Hey,
What's
going on, big guy?
Shit, that's Sherman here.
Oh, yeah.
Sherman.
Way back.
What's
going on, bro?
Our guy right here.
From Ottawa, right?
Yes, from
There you go,
Ottawa.
I remember.
Yeah.
What's your
I'll tell you
question,
what, he'd destroy you in a game of one.
every time I see this guy, he gets an inch and a half or 3 inches taller. Every 6 months, every 3 inches taller. What's your question, bud?
So the last few games we made a big push in the fourth, and we've been playing well, but I feel like we're lacking consistency right now. What do we do to turn this success around?
Well,
That's a great
you're
question.
right. I think they do a good job when they're playing from behind, making that push down the stretch. But to your point, I think the most important, and you can look it up, the most important 2 quarters in the NBA, everyone thinks it's the fourth quarter. It's the first quarter, the Raptors have struggled, and the third quarter. And the third quarter, they really struggled. They have 18 points total in the third quarter. Tatum had 17 for Boston. So you're right. And I think it's just a matter of coming out and being able to play with the lead and being consistent. And when they get hit, and now they got to play from behind a little bit, and you got to play a slower pace against a set defense, it becomes a lot harder.
Leo, what do you think? Jack said it all.
Jack, see, this is how good he is, Derek. He says it, that's it.
No, that's not true. I got to have a slice of pizza.
And you don't have to ask Sherman. It's all good. No, I'm just kidding. Sherman, how do you become more consistent? Because this is an issue.
That's tough. I mean, to Jack's point, I've debated this. We talked about this on another Raptors tonight. To be a self-starter, to be a punch-first type of team, is it innate? Do you have to have individuals that are built that way? Or can it be something that is coached? And that's the question. This team struggles to be the first punch. It's been consistent. And I'm still on the fence trying to figure out if it's an innate thing, you're built that way, so collectively that overrides how you approach a game, or do you have to be coached up to get out there and bring that energy up? I still don't know, but right now we know that this team struggles with starts, and if it's innate, then it's got to be brought out.
Yeah.
If it can be coached up, it's got to be coached up. But we don't know right now, but we know they struggle.
Awesome. Thanks for that question.
Hey, great job.
Can you show? You got 3 professionals here, all played basketball, coached basketball. Let's see the jump shot. Let's see the form. These guys, is it nice? What does it look like?
Oh,
yeah.
He's a southpaw.
Obviously, his coach Tony House didn't teach him how to shoot. He figured that out somewhere else.
That is nice. Thank you, Devlin. I appreciate it, man.
man.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Woo! That
My
was
man. Always good seeing you,
Good
brother.
to see you.
Get big.
great young man right
Yeah.
there.
Get big.
Oh, that jumper looks smooth, Jack.
Yeah, well-
You know what? I've actually never seen a lefty that couldn't shoot. We got more questions.
Whoa. That's a big
Are
statement.
you left-handed?
I am left-handed.
I was about to say. Looking at one.
Non-shooting lefty,
All right,
right?
here we go. What's the
Okay,
question?
Matthew and Hey Young has a question. The Celtics out-assisted the Raps 27-19. What can the Raptors do to get more open looks and fewer contested shots?
Well, I thought they really passed the ball great against Orlando the other night.
Yeah.
Tonight, they got a lot of break opportunities. Some of those were just at the rim, so you're not going to get some of those assists. I think Boston's defense made it a little bit harder to score. But nonetheless, I think the flow is different. But the opponent's different, guys. I mean, look,
There's levels, Jack.
there's levels. And Orlando's defense versus Boston's defense, it's different. So you're going to have a harder time. But again, a guy like Fred VanVleet, he's missing some open shots right now. That assist total is going to go way up if he makes some of those.
Well, let's talk about Fred VanVleet too, because I was sitting right kitty corner behind him when he took that 3, down 6 with a minute and a half to go, and it looked great when it left his hand. I thought that was going down, back of the rim. He's just strong. You can't be upset at that. It's just when you're long with it.
How many of those has he made? How many fourth quarter runs Raptors had where he's made big shots down the stretch? So he's one of your money guys, right?
But he is struggling to shoot the ball a little bit. What do you tell yourself in these moments?
It's a long season.
You've never struggled.
It's a long season, man. You just you have to wonder when it's Fred. You have to wonder how he is physically, right? A lot of times, there's things you don't know, and some of the issues could be physical. But it's a long season. Players go through stretches where everything's golden, and they go through stretches where it's hard to get a bucket. So, you just gotta maintain your confidence. You can't get too high, too low. You just gotta keep plugging and keep working. That's it.
I tell him to shoot it again.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Straight up, just shoot the ball again. I don't think you really worry about a Fred VanVleet's confidence, his decision making. You just want him to shoot it. Keep on shooting the basketball. He's going to make them.
And Talio made a point earlier about they were going to really stop the other guys with the whole Siakam coverages. I thought Derek White and
Robert.
they did a
Williams.
Yeah. They did a great job. Smart and White, they were all over Fred VanVleet. How about Smart picking VanVleet's pocket in the middle of the floor tonight?
That does not
I thought
happen.
their perimeter defense on VanVleet was really good.
Yeah.
So even when he was open, kind of looking around a little bit, and to me, I think
they were content with Pascal handling the ball,
to your point, yeah.
playing one-on-one, taking the shots, as long as you couldn't get anybody else get a rhythm going. I think they were happy with that.
All right, we got another fan question. Evan, where's Evan? Evan, coming in. All right, what's up, man?
Hey.
How are you? Randy, nice to meet you. Do you know this guy?
Yes, I most definitely know Jack.
Evan?
Nice to meet you.
What's up, Evan?
Sherman.
Hey, how you doing?
Jones.
How are you, Evan?
What's up, man?
All right, you're on
yeah.
TV. Here's your
On
moment.
TV. Man, this is crazy. So I was just wondering, at 33, did you see Koloko being drafted, that deep in the draft? Did you see him bring this much value to the Raptors so early on in his career?
Well, I think that as he fills out, he's going to bring more value.
Yeah.
I think he's a great get for them.
Absolutely.
Leo, I think he's got the ability to protect the rim. I thought he played well tonight defensively.
Yeah, I mean, he's still he's getting a lot of the rookie calls. He's getting some short end of the stick on that. But watching him in college, I just go, if he's available, he's a get for the Raptors. And I think even the Raptors were surprised that he was available. But once I saw that the two could connect, it was a no-brainer for me.
I think when you look at him as a big, you look at mobility, you look at athleticism, and then you start to look at his mind for the game. From a mobility standpoint, he's excellent for his size. From an athletic standpoint, he's very good. You can see that he's learning how to play, and he's learning at a rapid rate. And the fact that he gets to start, it accelerates his growth.
Sure.
But I think it's a great pick at that point of the draft. And really, what do you have to lose at that juncture, right?
I'll tell you,
It's all upside.
Nick Nurse said one thing about him early on. So he's got great self-awareness. When you want to hear that about a player, that means he knows where he's at, what he's got to do, how to get better. He's not a guy just walking in here saying, I'm right. He knows. And he listens and he's coachable. And those are big things.
And big guys develop late.
Yeah.
And I think in 12 months, 24 months, you'll see a different guy.
With Nick and Rico Hines as coaches, I think the development is.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot to come.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel confident there.
I think our guy was just testing us because he knows all the answers.
He knows all this stuff.
He's just testing us right here. He's playing games with us.
That's it.
Is he on our research staff here?
Absolutely. I'm trying to be.
There you go.
First game the other day.
First game, I'm from Summerside, Prince Edward Island. So
PEI. I've never been to PEI. It's spectacular.
beautiful spot. Shout out PEI.
How are the golf courses?
And they got
Golf is pristine.
Really?
Well,
Listen.
and pristine golfer, that's it
No,
right
that's
there.
not
You're
my
looking
game.
at it.
Anytime you want to golf, shoot me a message. We'll go.
Sure.
Are you pretty good?
I'm terrible, but I'll go with you.
My man.
Yeah.
Sure. Would you play with someone that's
Sherman
terrible?
Hamilton's coming to PEI.
There you go. Sherman Hamilton is Canada's guest.
Let's go.
You come on the show one time and you already got a golf date with Sherman. I can't even get him
listen.
to hang out for 5 minutes.
Hey. There's levels to this.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want you to know, Sherm is a member at Augusta.
Damn. Okay.
Not Augusta,
Yeah.
Augusta, Augusta. Okay?
Yeah.
The fake one, yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll be your guest, no problem.
I appreciate you doing
Hey,
this.
thank you
for
so
coming on.
much.
Thanks for-
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thanks
you
for
got
watching
it.
the show.
My man. Pleasure,
Sure,
man.
thanks so much.
Pleasure.
All right,
take
line
care,
up
bud.
36 a day. He'll be ready.
Yeah. Thanks, Evan. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Today was the Giants of Africa game. Every year on December 5th, Messiah and the Giants of Africa celebrate the life and legacy of Nelson Mandela. We got a video that shows the festival that's coming up next year. Let's roll that video. Do we have that?
It would be unbelievable to bring everybody to one country where they can share their values, their culture, their talent, all in one place. There's something visionary and powerful about this country. We have people in position, we have the resources, we have youth. It's time to be proud of who we are. Borders are opening.
I want to be a part of the positive narrative of Rwanda, where people are just seeing what we've got to show the world and to just get the world to celebrate our culture.
All right, August 13th to 16th, 2023, Giants of Africa turns 20 years old. They're having this great festival in Kigali, Rwanda, which I've been a few times. It's an amazing place. Jack, this day is about celebrating the messages of Nelson Mandela. I know it's obvious, but in your words, why is that so important to carry on that legacy?
Well, I think that legacy, I think the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, I think you look at where our culture has been of late and where we want to go.
Yeah.
You can never lose sight and never have any way, shape, or form lose that vision, lose that identity that you want to have, and that is acceptance, respect, inclusion, everyone having an opportunity and success. And Nelson Mandela is one of those people. It's interesting when people talk about who are those people that you look at and say you'd like to meet? He's always at the top of the list when people want to answer that question, because the guy went through an incredible amount of discrimination, and yet he always carried himself in a classy way, and over the long haul won out, right? And his way of doing things the right way has made our world a better place.
Sherman, just Masai, starting from where he did, not just coming from Nigeria, but just this organization to what it is today, to have this game every year at this time, to be recognized by the NBA, by the Toronto Raptors, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. How impressive is it to have these kind of events?
We all been involved in sports our whole life. And one thing sports does is it brings everybody together.
Okay.
I've never met a teammate that I didn't give a high five, a hug, I didn't jump on when we won because of their race, religion, their culture, anything like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a team sport and that's your teammate.
Yeah.
It breaks down a lot of barriers. So this game is a beautiful game, but understanding the value that it brings to bring cultures together. And Masai has a big vision about this game. And to be able to have Nelson Mandela as a focal point in terms of the messaging, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, we all sit here and understand what he brought to this world. He was, in my estimation, one of the greatest human beings to ever walk the face of this earth. And when you're talking about that, it's by example. And when you look at the example that he led his life with, it now creates an opportunity for us to not only admire it, but to try and emulate it. And those are the things that this whole situation, this game, the event, what they're trying to do in Africa, all of that comes together to say we need to live in love. We need to live with respect, with understanding, with empathy, with a desire to connect with people that we don't look like. And that's the beauty of Nelson Mandela's message. And as a black man, to see and to really appreciate what he brought to this universe, and to see all colors accept it, all colors believe in it. It's a beautiful thing.
And Leo, just to that point, this round orange thing can change people's lives like you wouldn't believe.
100%. And if you look at the exposure to the game, what all these kids right now, you got the potential, the athleticism, the length, the opportunity for all these kids. And look at the Raptors, 4 players, from Africa. And that number is going to skyrocket because the potential that we're looking at is amazing. And I said this during the broadcast, I think it must be so rewarding and amazing for Masai Ujiri to have this platform that he has, and to be able to go back where he came from and change lives. Not just 1 or 2 lives, but change thousands of lives, right? And create a whole new environment there, a lifetime of opportunities. And believe me, this is not just there because what's happening, the players that are coming here are going to impact this game, this NBA. But to be able to go back to your roots, go back to your home, and have this, and it's got to be unbelievably satisfying when he puts his head on the pillow every night to know the impact that he's making.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a big difference between being successful and significant. Obviously, you understand the success that Masai has had, but more importantly, it's the significance, right? And what this is doing. Not only from a basketball perspective, but overwhelmingly more important from a social perspective. These young people are getting an opportunity to be exposed to something that, if this wasn't there, they would never have the opportunity. So, to me, that is a great thing.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, for sure.
But the continent of Africa has always had this quality of player person. But as Leo said, the opportunity wasn't there. And for Masai Ujiri to see that and say, I'm going to make the difference. I'm going to put what I do on the line for my country and my continent is an impressive thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not like all of a sudden these players are coming out of Africa. They've always been there.
Yeah.
They just haven't had a gateway. And Masai is doing a great job being that gateway for right now a few.
Yeah.
But eventually it's going to be a lot
Be a flood
of young
flood
players.
of players.
It's really amazing. It's I've been there 4 times.
you have, yeah.
And when I was in Uganda, I saw this kid touch the mesh with his foot. Like I've seen things I've never seen before. He was that athletic, and it's just to give these people, to give the communities a chance to be able to showcase their skills. And the NBA is going to be an unbelievable league because of it. Because I see things that I've never seen before on a basketball court with some of these guys. If you want to donate, go to giantsofafrica.org and you can help send a kid to camp. They're taking 250 kids from the 16 countries that they've been to and had camps at. So 250 kids from those 16 countries, and you can donate and send one of those kids to camp. They want all of the kids to be covered with that, and I think it's a great thing. I know Leo's going to donate. I know you're going to sponsor a kid. I'm going to do it. Sherm, Jack, we're all going to do it. Cheers to that. But let's change gears a little bit. It's the eve of your concert. Any tickets left? I'm
Very
going.
few.
Okay.
Very few, actually. No, it's going good. I had a rehearsal this morning.
Yep.
I've had a full day.
You need
That
a
sounds
rehearsal?
funny to hear you say that, but I'm glad you're rehearsing.
I've had 3 rehearsals. It's been quite busy.
We're going to get back to that real second. We got a special guest coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Godwin, come on in here. This is Godwin Owinje. What's up, man?
Hey, Randy.
This is
How
the
you doing,
co-founder
man?
of Giants of
How you doing,
Africa.
How are you? Nice to meet you
How
guys.
you doing? Sherman,
Good to meet
pleasure.
you. Godwin Owinje.
Pleasure to meet you.
Have a seat, bud. You know Jack Armstrong?
Jack,
Hey, how you doing, sir?
pleasure.
Good to meet you.
be here, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining me. I texted you. You read my text.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I
that.
just responded.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having
Not
me.
used to people responding to his text.
Here's your mic. I can hold it, but if you want to hold it,
I'll hold it. I'll hold it.
You just put a little close. It's loud in here.
Close up.
You know,
I
it's
got
loud.
you. I
All
got
right.
you.
So Godwin, just tell us how this started with you and Masai, first of all, because you're the co-founder of Giants of Africa.
Yeah, actually, 20 years ago, that's when this whole Giants of Africa thing came about. Masai and I, we had a long relationship growing up in Nigeria, the northern part of Nigeria, Zaria. We met when at 12 years old, something like that. We met. So basketball brought us together, kind of, and we grew up playing the game. And then we had an opportunity to come to the United States together. We went to a junior college in North Dakota, of all places, and yeah, cold. Can you imagine? Actually, there's a behind story. When I came to North America, I came to Canada first.
Really?
Oh yeah. I came to Canada. There was a coach. I don't know if you guys know this guy, Jerry Hammonds.
Oh yeah, out
You
in
know Jerry
Manitoba,
Hammonds?
yeah.
Jerry Hammonds saw me in Sheffield, England, and recruited me to come to Brandon University.
Brandon University,
Yeah.
Now that's cold.
I know, it's cold. Oh yeah. So I actually went to Brandon.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to Brandon. I went in January of 1993. 93, I believe. 93 or 94 or something like that. That's when I went over there. And Jerry, I don't know if you guys know Jerry.
Oh yeah, I know Jerry. Oh yeah.
Jerry has his ways,
Yes,
you know
he
what
does.
I mean? He told me I was having a full scholarship, and Canadian colleges don't give full scholarship back then. So
Funny how that works.
You're not the only one that's been caught with that one.
So I found my way to Bismarck, North Dakota from there.
Okay.
So I ended up not going to Brandon. So Masai was in Seattle then, finishing up high school. So I called Masai up and said, hey man, let's go to Bismarck State College together. He was like, yeah, let's do it. So we went there for 2 years. Masai transferred to Montana State. I went to Georgetown University. I played at Georgetown for 2 years. And then after that, I went overseas. I played in Spain for about 5 years. Masai played
overseas. Also played in a couple of countries and stuff, Belgium, Greece, and all those places and stuff. So it just so happened that our career ended around the same time. So when we came back to the United States, we were staying in D.C. That's where I had a little efficiency apartment back then in D.C. We lived there together for almost 4 years. That's where Giants of Africa came about. We started, brainstorming about how we can give back to make the path easier for the next generation. Because what we went through was kind of difficult. So we say, okay, let's start running basketball camps.
It's interesting. Everyone has a different journey in the game of basketball.
Of course.
But nonetheless, we all have the same love of that orange ball.
Of course.
And just talk a little bit about these young people in Africa that have that same love of that orange ball as some kid in Philadelphia or Washington, D.C. or Winnipeg or whatever. And being able to get them the opportunity that maybe a kid in Philadelphia or Winnipeg might have an easier chance getting, opening those doors for these young people.
The key word there is opportunity. That's the key word. Most of these kids in Africa, the opportunity is not there. So that's what we're trying to provide. We're trying to provide opportunity. Not just, they don't have to come to the United States or come to Canada or go to Europe. There are opportunities back in the continent. Universities over in the continent, they're beginning to give scholarships now. So if you're lucky enough, you're opportune enough to come to the United States or come to Canada, that's fine. But if that opportunity is not there, there are opportunities back home that you can get a scholarship to go to a university back home, play basketball. When you're done, if you want to continue playing basketball, the opportunity is there, or the option is there for you. If you want to go for another path. But the one thing is, it's so different that the infrastructure is not there in the continent of Africa. So that's what we're trying to preach to investors, to governments. We need infrastructure. We need state-of-the-art infrastructures like the infrastructure we just, like the gym where we just saw the game today. It will bring a lot of opportunity, jobs, and all that stuff. We're trying to preach that to most of the governments, the head of states and all that. That's our campaign now. Try to provide facilities where these kids can play. That's what's driven us to start building basketball courts, where these kids can have opportunity to go, work on their game, and try to be better in the game of basketball. And then, who knows? That round ball can take you places, can open a lot of doors for you. It did that to me. That's why that's why we are so passionate about trying to give these kids opportunity to do whatever it is they want to do in life, just for falling in love with that orange ball. So
how did it save your life? You said this yesterday.
Trust me, it saved my life. I come from from the gutter. Basically, I came from a very poor neighborhood in Delta State, Warri, in Nigeria. My parents, were illiterate. They never went to school, and I was fortunate enough to go to school. Right before I graduated from high school, my dad told me, "Hey, I don't have money for you to go to school. Go join the police. So go." You know what I mean? But I had just discovered the game of basketball then. And I told myself, I want to do something with it. I'm not going to go join no police or go join the army or none of that stuff, So I started, I went all hard. I was in the gym, not gym, an outside court, dirt court or whatever. Every day just working. My opportunity came. I got selected in the 17 and under national team to go to Sheffield. And that's where Jerry Hammond saw me. It was funny, right? What's his name? I keep forgetting his name. He played at University of UW. We were friends. Kane. I think he played on the Canadian national team.
What's the last name?
Kane. I forgot is it Matthew? No, is it Matthew Kane? I don't know. We were in the cafeteria in Sheffield. right? We had
Tommy Kane played
It's
football
not
and
Tommy.
basketball.
His name is not Tommy. He went to University of Washington.
Oh.
Back in the day, in the 90s or so. So we were in the cafeteria, and we had just played a game. The Nigerian team we had just played. So we were all looking at the stats. So Kane, we were talking about, because I had 19 points and 19 rebounds in the game we just played. So we were talking about it. The Kane kid. So let me see that. You had 19 rebounds, really? So he looked at the stats, and while he was looking at it, Jerry was walking by. So he's like, "Hey, coach, come over here, come and see what this kid did." So Jerry came to our next game and saw me play, and after the game, said, "Hey, son, you want to come to Brandon University in Canada?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course," So that's how my journey started. Yeah. That's how it started. Awesome. And of course, Jerry, Jerry is different. He's beautiful.
That's a good word. It could be an understatement.
That's a good word.
So what happened was that there was a kid that had played at Bismarck State College before that was at Brandon.
Yeah.
So he saw what was going on. I was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna call my coach."
Yeah.
So you don't need to be here. Right. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. Okay. I ended up in Bismarck, and Masai came, and
rest is history.
That's what she wrote. Exactly. Yeah.
We really appreciate you stopping by. It means a lot to me, and thank you for sharing your story and
thank you.
creating this amazing organization that's touching so many lives.
Right.
I appreciate that. All right, we're going to stop it there. Don't forget Jack's concerts tomorrow night. Head to the Danforth Music Hall. Go to comedyrecords.ca. You can get tickets there if they're available. I don't know. I'll be there. Next game for the Raptors goes Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. There's a tip against the Los Angeles Lakers. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.